Good day, students. Today's class will be about grade 11 tourism. I got all this information out of the CAPS, and today we're going to be discussing factors to consider when planning an itinerary. This is just going to be a short little introduction to the type of things you can consider when you need to plan an itinerary. It's pretty much, you're going to be able, out of all this information, you're going to be able to determine a budget that you need to have for an itinerary and what you can expect by getting different types of tourists that will visit you. And let's say you're a tourist, for instance, and you need to go to these certain places. That you need to go to these certain places, and what's going to be expected of you. Are you going to need some certain medication? Are you going to need certain funds? Like your currency won't be able to help you in all types of countries. Like if you go to a foreign country, how is this going to affect you? Let's quickly just go to the next slide and see the factors that are listed underneath this assignment. Okay, well, this lesson. Okay, the 12 factors you can consider when planning an itinerary. Okay, this is just a little list I made that you can follow when you need to plan your itinerary. When let's say you're a tour guide, for instance. Okay, let's just quickly read through it. The first one is reasons for traveling. Second one is amount of participants. Third one is nationality. Fourth one, age. Fifth one, language. Sixth one, transportation needs. Seventh one, accommodation needs. Eighth one, special needs. Ninth one, dates and times of itinerary. And the 10th one is certain attractions and destinations. The 11th one is budget, and the 12th one is practical information to add to an itinerary. This is pretty much all the information you need to consider when you plan a perfect itinerary. I'm going to, at the end of this little presentation, I'm going to show you a video of what you can expect from a well-planned itinerary. It's pretty much just going to be a little video that shows these people's experience. Like, they know which season the big events are. They know what money they have. Where is the big location? When are these places going to be packed with tourists and locals and everything? Like, you take into consideration like school holidays and just seasonal changes. Okay, but enough talking, let's just get started. Okay, the first one is reasons for traveling. It can either be for business reasons or leisure reasons. Pretty much, what is the reason for their traveling? If it's a business traveler, usually they have to work with clients. When traveling, they're not going to be in their swim trunks, going to the beach, or, well, maybe in their off time, but that's not the main reason for their traveling. Whereas if you go for leisure activities, you could consider yourself a tourist. You go to these places like to get away, to relax, to just sit and enjoy yourself. You don't worry about your work, and it's nothing work related. That's pretty much it. So yeah, that's just a neat little photo I took. But you can see he's on his way to his business meeting, getting on an airplane. And the second one is the amount of participants. This is very valuable information because this is going to determine how are you going to get somewhere. You can't get an entire room full of people into, let's say, a little restaurant. Let's say you're 30, 40 people. How are you? Not all of them want to eat at the same place. Not all of them can travel like in a taxi. You might need to account for a tour bus. Let's just quickly check. How many travelers are there? Yeah, let's say you're like a couple going somewhere. It's two. It's very easy. You can just organize things for you to okay, we can get a taxi, we go to this place. We only need to get a little food. We maybe go to a side stand and order some chips or something. Whereas if you're a lot of people, it makes things difficult. This amount will also determine the modes of transportation, accommodation, and places to eat. Bigger groups equals something that's more difficult to plan. So, like I stated, if you're more people, it's a lot more difficult to get around, to get somewhere to stay. Because if, let's say, you're just 2 to 5 people, you're a small family, it'll be a lot easier for you to just book into a hotel, whereas it would be a lot more difficult if you're a bunch of people. I would consider then applying to a hostel or something when one is considering to accommodate a big group of people. Okay, number 3 is nationalities. Where are the tourists from? People from different places have different needs, and the locals itinerary versus the international tourist itinerary. Okay, this pretty much states that you need to tend to different groups of people. Sorry. This means you're going to tend to locals, and you're going to tend to foreigners, which in this case are international tourists. Like, if you're a local, you're not going to want to see like something that's very South African per se. You'll rather go to like some fun event or something else. Whereas if let's say you're from Australia and you want to see the Fur Tracker Monument, something that's very like the Big Five, for instance, something you don't see every day. Like if you're a local, you can consider like, okay, oh, yeah, I went there last week. Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Whereas if you're the international tourist, it is something out of this world. So you should always consider the people's nationality when taking them on a tour. It's very important. So yeah, this is just a neat little picture as well. Like you can see how much you can expect for this person to pay. Like the Aussie, $140 a day, American big spender, $267 a day, and the thrifty Briton worth 111 a day. So yeah, you can expect different cash flows from different types of people, I guess. And the fourth one is going to be age. The elderly will require different levels of needs than younger travelers. Sorry. Travel groups can consist out of multiple age groups. Personal taste and travel needs will differ due to these aspects. Age will also influence activities on the tour. So let's say I'm an 80-year-old man. I'm not going to go ziplining or bungee jumping with the rest of the kids. And if your parents are bringing, if a couple is bringing their 3-year-old son or daughter to an amusement park, you need to take in account that he won't be able to go on all the rides, or if I'm old per se, I won't be able to do all these activities. Transportation will be a problem. Getting into certain places like stairways or elevators, all these things play a role in your itinerary. You need to tend to the group you are assisting. Like that's why critical information is necessary when planning your itinerary. Like, yeah, that's pretty much it. Like if you're older, you're not going to do all these wild stuff. You'll maybe want something easy, like maybe like a tour bus or something. Long distances you have to travel, have to walk on like certain routes. Not all people are in a position to be able to do these type of things. But yeah, let's just move on to the next one. Language. Language determining which language you're going to speak is a key part of an itinerary. You can't have a bunch of foreigners on a tour and can't be able to communicate with them. That would be me like going overseas and trying to make a business plan with someone speaking the opposite language. Like I'm going there speaking English and he only understands Japanese. Like why would I do that? So you need to tend to these people. So if you're going to plan an itinerary, you should get a translator, or you need to fill in a form for them to like ask them what language they prefer. Like if they know multiple languages, like let's say English is a good example. Like a lot of people, when they want to talk to you when they're foreign, they most likely talk to you in English. But let's say you have a couple of locals that are coming with, and these families, or well, tourists that are in your group are all Afrikaans. Let's say, yeah, they're all Afrikaans and they prefer you talk to them in Afrikaans. So I will put in place a tour guide that can tend to them to make this experience as pleasant as possible for them. It's very easy, and it can either be a big issue or it can be easily avoidable, because we're not going to be able to tend to all these type of people. They need to take in account as well that I'm a South African. I can't speak French. I can't speak Mandarin. We need to make special arrangements for these type of people. Okay, number 6 is transportation needs. Factors that can determine the type of transportation is safety, distance, time, availability, price. Some people might not want to or prefer to travel in the same way as others. And transportation to the tourist attraction might require a stop to get something to eat or to use the bathroom. Okay, so transportation needs are pretty much just, am I making the experience as safe as possible for my clients? Is the distance too far? How are they going to be? How are they going to? Let's say they are going to have to walk on a certain route. Are they going to be able to walk 5 kilometers to see these wonderful scenarios? And time. We need to take into account like traveling tickets, like deadlines. If you're going to have multiple groups visiting this place, it might be wise to put in a schedule and an effective and reliable transportation system. Like, let's say a bus, for instance. You can drive to a section, point A, let's say perhaps, stay there for 5 minutes and move on, and do this on a schedule and still be on time with your tour timings. And then the availability, how available are these resources to you? Like, I'm not going to get a 5-star bus in a very rural area in Africa, and let's just say how the price. Not all the people are going to be able to pay it. Sometimes people don't want to pay that extra bunch of money to go on to be on transportation. Usually, let's say you're going to Amsterdam and you're from a country like South Africa. The rand is very weak compared to the euros they're spending. So you're going to try and make it as cost efficient as possible. So you want to be able to travel as cheaply and as effectively as possible. And if you have the option to do it cheaper, you can take it. And some people might not prefer to travel in the same way as others. Like, some people might get nauseous on boats. They'd much rather enjoy the view from like the beaches rather than going up on a boat and facing like their fears. Like, they've got fears of going out onto deep sea travels, but that usually never really happens, because if you're going to plan your itinerary properly, you're going to take into account, like, okay, yes, this is going to happen. I'm going to have to go on this. So why would you book this if you're not going to be able to handle this experience? That's just bad planning of an itinerary, except if it like pops up unexpectedly. Yeah, let's just quickly check here. Yeah, and pit stops also play a valuable role. Like, how long is this bus ride going to last? For like, me picking up these people from the airport and taking them to their tourist destination, we need to take into account bathroom breaks and pit stops for getting petrol into the tour bus, let's say, or just getting them some food or something to eat. Yeah, but let's just quickly move on to the next slide. Okay, accommodation needs. Providing multiple accommodation options. This pretty much states like, make clear all the housing that is available in this section. Like, if you've got camping areas, if you've got bungalows, if you've got like suites, something like that is very valuable information to a person. Like, someone that has a bigger income would rather prefer a suite, a very fancy place he can like pamper his family. Whereas if you want a more outdoors experience, you'd rather go for like a camping or bungalow, just to meet some new people. All of this need to be taken account depending on the type of, well, let's say vacation people want to go on. And the tourist budget equals the duration of the tour and the availability of the accommodation. So your budget is going to determine how expensive your accommodation is going to be and how long you're going to be on this trip. So if you've got the money, you can have all these big expenses like big houses, long vacations. Like, if you're working on a small budget, it's wiser to pick the cheaper option and the more effective option. Okay, then we go to special needs. Tourists have special needs. Tourists that have special needs might consist out of people with physical disabilities, people with allergies, people that follow certain diets, or parents with young children. Talk to the group and determine if the current circumstances tend to their needs and that everyone has a pleasant experience. Okay, so pretty much this determines how flexible your tour is going to be. You need to do a survey in the beginning to see, okay, I've got people with these allergies, I shouldn't take them, I should tell them what is in my products. Like, if I'm going to give them food, I need to state there is nuts in this project, or if you're allergic to this, you might not want to consume this. And disabilities also, like, is this place handicap accessible? Is there ramps for people in wheelchairs? Stuff like that. It's easy to understand. People that follow certain diets, like if you're on a gluten-free diet, you might not want to eat. You need to make certain like meal preps for people that are like on certain diets, like people that don't want to eat gluten. They might not want it due to health concerns, and parents with young children Uh, some children might not want to be exposed to some circumstances, like if you're going to a serial killer museum or a horror museum, something like that. It might uh, put the kids into a bad light. Well, not a bad light, maybe like just scare them perhaps. But yeah, let's just quickly move on to the rest. Okay, 9 is dates and times of the itinerary. This is very, very important. Just excuse me, just okay. Consider seasons when planning an itinerary. You're not going to go surfing when it's snowing outside. It's pretty much very straightforward. You need to take into account the weather, the season, the time of year, even events that take place. Like let's say a soccer World Cup is going to be in South Africa. Let's take in 2010 for instance. You're not going to show up 2 days after it ends. You need to plan. You need to know when these things happen and when you need to be there, because you're not going to book your. Let's say the big game you came down to watch is on the 30th of May. You're not going to book an airline ticket for the 30th of May. You're going to book it for the day before, or even 2 days before, so that you get there and so that you can organize all these things: transportation, accommodation, everything. You need to be settled. You need to plan perfectly for these type of situations. Okay, but let's quickly just go on to the next one. Okay, number 10, certain destinations and attractions. Need to recommend tourist attractions, recommend sites on the way to tourist attractions, recommend local cuisine, operating hours of attractions, profile of your tour group, and the little stops of profit hotspots. Okay, pretty much what this is you need to recommend certain attractions. You have your main tourist attraction, which these people came to see. Like let's say they came for Mapungubwe or something like that, or the Great Wall of China. Then you need to tell them about these certain little places, like a little restaurant, a family restaurant that serves the best deep dish pizzas, something like that. Or people that use South African cuisine, for instance. People from overseas want to taste. They want to see these colors of our country, of our nation. They want the South African experience. But if this place is serving the best pancakes in South Africa, it might not be wise to show up at 10 p.m. at night, because you need to take into account operating hours and due dates for certain things. Like people might have like certain special, like on a Wednesday, you can't take a group out for all-you-can-eat burger special. That's on a Wednesday, and you show up on a Saturday. You need to take into account all these little things, and these are the little stops determine the profit your tourism is gonna get in South Africa. Like you need to tend to the little people, because if everybody starts to benefit out of these tourists, it's gonna make the tourism a lot better in your country. So these little hotspots, these little sites are the hotspots for your country. You need to advertise just to make it more pleasant for the people. And 11 is our budget. You need to state how much money your clients need for their trip, and that they take the following into account and keep inside the budget. And these are transportation. They need to take into account how they're going to get to certain places, how much these fares are going to cost them, and how many times are they expected a day to get somewhere. Like you can use Uber or taxis, anything of the sort. Trains, public transportation, you name it. And the second one is going to be accommodation. You need to plan. You can't just pack your bags, go to a country, and boom, you're here without somewhere to stay. You need to plan. You need to look into the cheapest option or the best options you want and book a place to stay. It needs to be near your tourist attraction, because you can't drive 50 kilometers a day to visit, let's say, a museum, for instance, or this hotspot you came all the way down to visit. And then transportation between flights and trips. You need to organize like transportation from the airport to your house, to your accommodation center. Either be by bus, by Uber, anything of the sort. You also need your permits and entrance fees. Like let's say you need to be, if you're gonna hunt, if you're gonna hunt, you need certain permits to shoot certain animals. You need permits for certain guns. You need all this paperwork done, because if you don't apply to all these type of things, they can either show you away at the gates, or you can face certain legal charges. And entrance fees as well. You need to know you're going to go to this place, you're going to have to pay this much to get in. You can't just show up and get in for free. That's not how it works. And travel taxes. Let's just say it's like airline costs, airline fees, all that type of stuff. Meals included, meals excluded from accommodation package. This is pretty much, let's say you're walking down the street, you're feeling hungry, you buy a donut, something like that. The little things, the extra meal budgets you need to take into account. And the other one is travel insurance. You want to when you're going to be traveling, let's say like at an adventurous place, it's very rugged terrain. You need to take into account travel insurance. So if you get injured on these adventures, you need to be able to back yourself up. Let's say in this case with travel insurance, you need to cover your tracks. And unexpected traveling between tours. So like let's say for instance, you're with the tour group and you miss the bus. You need to take into account like, okay, I'm going to take this taxi to this place and Uber from here to get to that place. It's just a little extra expenses on the side. And number 12, practical information. Critical information that needs to be shared with clients. Okay, this is pretty much going to be if you're going into danger zones or anything like that. Let's say, for instance, I'm going into this part of Africa where it's a malaria zone. You need to tell these people to take certain medications, or they're going to face certain medical diseases and stuff like that. Like, is this water safe to drink? If not, does it have cholera? Does it have bilharzia? Does it have any other diseases like, does the water have E. coli? You need to tell these people that this water is not consumable. Do not drink this water. And also, like safety precautions, like if you're in a city like South Africa where the crime rate is very high, these people need to be safe. They need to stick in groups and be safe. Don't just wave your phone round and about. I know you're a tourist and you want to take pictures and everything, but be safe. If you're going to a crime hotspot, follow the proper safety precautions. And 12 is passports and other documentation. You need identification. If you're in this place, you need to be able to identify yourself. So if something goes wrong, they can see like, okay, this is this person, this is a foreign person, I need to do this, I need to do that. You've got this allergy, you need this medication. And the last one, emergency numbers and contact information. You need to be able to contact this tour group you signed up with. So you can get over there, and you need to be able to contact like hotlines. Not all people work on the same emergency hotlines. Like let's say America works on 911. We're not working on 911 here in South Africa. You need to know all these information, like the fire brigade, everything. But yeah, that pretty much concludes all these factors. Let's just say all these need to be taken into account to plan a proper itinerary. I'm going to show you a little video of a couple of guys that went on holiday for, I think, 3 years. Yeah, they all planned. It's certain events they go to, certain seasons. Okay, they had a budget. They'd go on certain seasons, certain times need to be taken into account, accommodation, all that type of stuff. All these things were taken account by these people for this experience. So let's just quickly watch this video, just for fun.
What does it feel like to be present? To be here, in the now, and fully experiencing this moment, free from any weight of the past or any anticipation of the future. Just free. Free to realize that only you can control how you feel about anything. Free to see things for what they really are. And free to give your time and energy to what really matters. Accept the fact that everything that makes up your world is there because you attracted it with your own thoughts. Realize that you can control your thoughts and emotions. There's no big secret. Just choose to think better feeling thoughts. Listen to your emotions and choose to feel good. You can decide to be in a place of attraction and abundance. What do you want to do in your life? What makes you tick? What makes you feel awe? Don't be misled into thinking that you're supposed to do anything. You are supposed to do only what you choose to do. Follow your bliss. Stop looking for reasons why you can't and look for reasons why you can. And if you can, you should.
Okay, that's pretty much just the little video we put together. Well, we wanted to watch. All these people, they planned to get to these places. They knew when these certain events, those parties were, the seasons were, everything. Everything needs to be taken into account. From point A, when you get on that airplane, till you get to your house, go to the side, go back to the airport until you're safe to where you started, from where you started. All of these need to be taken account when you're planning this traveling route. So pretty much this will conclude our class. This is just a brief explanation. You can go into more detail about this later on, but yeah, this is a micro lesson, and I really hope you enjoy this, and thank you.